gracious introduction, Cindy. And it was really nice to hear about what you're doing in kinesiology, Anne Marie. So thank you for sharing that as well. So my name is Margaret Mutumba, as has been mentioned, and I am part of the University of Waterloo African Graduate Student Association. And our association has actually been operational for a number of years informally, but given the impact of COVID, we realized the need to formalize and make ourselves more visible, particularly because many of our members are international, so they're most likely to be overseas or in various areas within Canada. And so we wanted to ensure that they can easily find us or access us. Previously, this would be easily be done on campus, but obviously that's not the case right now. So we came up with this initiative called It Takes a Village, which obviously includes a number of members, but we are part of this initiative. And the idea is to provide support for students of African descent at every given should I say, section of their academic journey. And so we're in partnership with Bring On the Sunshine, which is an organization here in Waterloo region that supports high school students of African descent. And then the African Canadian Association of Waterloo region, which is an overarching association for which different African organizations are a part of. And then ourselves as the Graduate Association and the African Alumni Association. So this is a cross-generational educational community initiative, and we aim to provide sustainable support for UW students of African descent throughout the lifespan of their educational or professional journey. And it's inspired by the proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. And the idea here is that a student needs to interact with various people along their academic journey so that they can have a safe and healthy environment to grow and learn. And so I already mentioned our partners in the previous slide, but the concept for It Takes a Village is around having all our partners and having in-reach programming. So this is programming which is targeted to a particular cohort, and I'll speak more to this in our next slide. But then we have also cross-reach programming where the more advanced cohort is able to support their peers in terms of mentorship, coaching, and life skills. And then we have outreach where we look at organizations in the community that we can volunteer for or partner with, because obviously our students have a lot of skills and expertise that can support community organizations such as grant writing or running events. And so the idea here is that we're building a village ecosystem where a student is receiving support at every level. And this is really important because many of our students are international, so they don't have that local social capital to help them navigate the context that they're arriving in. And so we're trying to fill in the gap in that way. And so what does this look like in practice? So obviously this is our first time, providing a more structured form of programming. So for now, everything is virtual given COVID. And within our in-reach programming, we have 3 mandates. So every given term, we have to provide social and professional networking opportunities. We have to provide programming around academic and professional development. And finally, we have to have an aspect of mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness to support our student body. And so for the fall 2020 and winter 21 term, so far we've been able to have one social networking event where we were showcasing African community organizations in Waterloo. And this was really critical given that many of our student membership were feeling isolated due to the impact of COVID. And so we wanted to connect them with African community organizations, help them understand what these organizations are doing, and give them an opportunity to participate in their activities. And likewise, for our community organizations to know that as a student body, we're here and would like to be involved and support them. Secondly, given the SEF funding, we were able to finally launch our e-newsletter, where we're obviously very excited to announce that this funding was approved. And as a result of that, we're also able to host a winter social virtually, which is coming up at the end of this week. and that would come under our student wellness programming. As part of our career professional development, we have an event coming up in the middle of December where we're hosting African entrepreneurs that have done significantly well in the region of Waterloo and also have companies in Africa, just to allow students to be familiar with the idea around entrepreneurship and starting your own business and how you can do that, whether it be Canada or back on the continent in Africa. And finally, again, with the funding, we've been able to put together some care packages for our membership, which includes branded T-shirts, notebooks, and some mugs for them to take away in the winter term when they join us. So just some quick tips with applying for the SEF funding or GSI funding. First and foremost, be aware of the deadline. That's obviously really important, just so that you can know how much time you're working with. Review the website and the form. There's actually great detail on there that describes to you what this fund is able to help you with and the things that it cannot fund. So that's really critical, obviously, when you're thinking about your programming. To support your application, especially in our case, because we are a socially organized association and not a departmental association, we obviously had to seek out departmental and faculty support. Fortunate for us, a lot of our members are part of different faculties or different departments, and so each and every one of us was actively able to seek out that support from our department to get additional support for our project. We had a lot of questions because this was our first time applying for this fund, and Matthew was absolutely fantastic in answering our questions. So if you're concerned, if you're not sure about certain activities that you want to offer, please don't hesitate to reach out to the GSEF coordinator. And then if you start to actually complete the application form, there's very good detail as to how you should fill out the information. So we found it very useful and straightforward in terms of completing our application. And so that's a really useful guide as well. And finally, of course, teamwork. There was a number of us that came together to put this proposal together. And so if you're able to work with other individuals to think of activities that are relevant to your community, obviously it's better. And so I just want to acknowledge that there was a number of other students and alumni who helped in this application, including Toko, Christine, Elizabeth, and Kunle. And finally, I just want to say thank you very much. I look forward to the Q&A session.